All right, the recording has started. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to share my screen and we will go through what it is that we're here for today. Okay. And of course, as soon as I share my screen, somebody texts me. All right. Okay. All right. So, this is what we're dealing with today. Okay. So, what we're talking about is your ultimate goal is to go is to within this fiscal year. Our fiscal year is from September 18th to August the 19th, and you and your goal can be, or it should be, I'm not imposing on you, but I'm just suggesting that your goal should be either to go silver, which represents like about 3,200 every month, and that means as long as you hold the 7,500 PV, okay, or to go platinum, which is silver for 6 months, and that should be a little bit more because there are bonuses for being gold and all of that stuff, okay. So that should be your goal. Everybody agree to that? Okay.
Absolutely.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Okay. And so
Yes, yes.
absolutely. So to do this, you need to complete the BWW pins. You see, it's the input that will result in the output. The input is the BWW pins. The output is going to be the Amway pins, which is PV. Okay. And so your first goal is to honor the partnership. Okay. Do whatever you can this month and December to honor the partnership, whatever it takes. Okay. Make it your number one priority outside of God and family. Okay. And I don't need to go through all these steps. You guys have seen this. You have the mentorship sheet. Okay. Once you do that and you sustain it, you will automatically, once you sustain it, go into eagership. Eagership is just a level of duplication. So now you have 6 people who are honoring the partnership with you. Okay. And once you do that, then with that momentum, you should be getting into Eagle Plus. And from Eagle Plus, you go into Double Eagle. Double Eagle is going to set you up for silver, for platinum, for Q12, and even into Ruby. Okay. And then if you sustain that and you build it properly with the mentorship of Kamta and Nadia, who are our only mentors. Okay. Everybody, including Andrea and I, that is our only mentors. There are no other mentors. Okay. Other people might do mentorship with you. You know, those are your coaches who are in the field with you, but your mentors are Kamta and Nadia. Okay. And so this is the path that we need to take. Okay. To do that, what we need to do is to follow the BWW roadmap to a success business. So what I'm showing you is what we hear in the streams and the documentation. I have not invented anything here, even though I'm capable of it. So this is the process. Okay. And if you haven't seen this, please get with your growing upline or coach so that they could explain it properly to you. All right. You want to go through meet and greet one, meet and greet two, board plan one, follow up one, board plan two, follow up two, and offer calls. Your goals, according to BWW, and this is plastered all over the place, is to have 5+ meet and greets weekly. That could be meet and greet one or meet and greet two. 20+ process meetings monthly. Okay. And 1 to 2 launch monthly. Okay. That's your ultimate goal. But to do that, you need to have the input, right? And that input is your minimum field work. That means you're out in the field 5 to 7 days weekly. You're not going to be able to do it 7 days a week weekly, but that, you want to be within this range. Manage your expectations, manage your output based on your input consistency, right? And so you have to have 1 to 5 intentional conversations daily. Intentional, okay? Listen to that CD. There are many streams in this. There's the 5 levels of conversation by Francis Pappalardo, okay? Excellent. And there are many others. Okay, and then drop the message 1 to 3 times daily, right? And then contact 0 to 2 daily, but make sure you get 3 to 5+ weekly. Now, as Camta teaches us, these are the minimums. if you are out there in the field and you've had 5 conversations in half an hour, don't just pack up everything and say, okay, well, I met my daily quota, I'm gone. No, those are minimums. Always plan ahead. If you're on a roll, continue to go. And maybe you had 3 conversations and you got the 3 DTMs and 3 contacts, and you're like, well, I met my daily goal. No, 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 no. Continue to go, because you don't know if tomorrow you're going to be in an accident, or you got an exam, or somebody's sick, or somebody's getting married. Always work ahead of plan. Get the minimum in. So meet the minimum and beat the minimum. Meet the minimum and beat the minimum every day. Meet the minimum and beat the minimum. Don't count the days to winter conference. Make every day count until you get to winter conference, because you build your business conference to conference. Okay. And then what's happening though is that we actually have people who are meeting and beating this. We actually do. I'm talking about the field work. But when it comes to MGs, they're falling off on the MGs big time. And the reason for that is because this middle thing is not being done. And that's the invites. So that's what today's meeting is about. It's about how do you invite, when do you invite, how quickly should you invite, and everything. So we have some frequently asked questions. And what we want to do, this is the last slide, is to go through how to contact, how soon, what are the differences between a contact, prospect, and candidate that confuse some people? What verbiage should you use? What's posture? How much should you use? What about if you have a non-responsive prospect? What if the person refuses to go forward until they find out all the what? And what about skeptical or negative people? And there may be some other questions. Okay, so that's the slides. I just wanted to kick it off. So the next thing we want to do is to go through some examples. All right, and we're going to let the rest of the meeting happen organically. So did that make sense to everybody? I will send out those slides. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So everybody can unmute now, and who wants to start with an example? Text or voice?
An example as in role play, or example as what?
No. We could role play, or we could role play, or you can give examples. Either one. Oh, my phone is dead. Roderick or Rod, Roderick or Rod, can you look at your phone and give us a recent successful invite you did?
Oh, sure. I can do that.
Yeah. Rod, could you line up one too?
Yep, will do.
Yeah. And basically what I do while these guys are lining it up, basically what I do is I do not. This is what Camter says is happening. He's saying that because everybody's getting contacts, either A list, B list, or C list, what's happening is that people are not inviting them soon enough. So, like for instance, Carol and Anthony, what they do is they invite people right there on the spot if the person is interested and engaged, you know. And I prefer to wait a day or two. If it's and there are different schools of thoughts, but all of them work. However, within 72 hours, you should be reaching out to your contacts. So what I do is within 1 or 2 days. I don't let it go past 2 days. I think 3 days, unless if the person tells me they're going to be out of town. So what I do is within a day or two, I will call and say, "Hey Sam, how you doing?" It says, "Oh, I'm fine. I say, "Did I catch you at a good time?" He says, "Yeah. If he says no, I say, "Well, when is a good time for me to call you?" And if he says, "Yeah, I'm good," say, "Well, listen, all I wanted to do was to touch bases with you, see how you're doing, and to further our discussions. Remember, I was telling you that I may be able to open the door for you to meet my mentors. Now, I can't promise you anything, but what I'd like to do is to sit down with you first to see if we have a fit. That way, I'm not wasting your time and I'm not wasting my time. So when will be a good time?" And I give them two choices: is Wednesday at 6 or Thursday at 8 good for you? All right. And then when I do that, I set it up and I say, okay, closer to the time, I'm gonna give you a call to remind you. And I tell them I'm putting it in my calendar. So, if you could follow suit.
Nice.
And right. And that's how my typical, and it works all of the time. Unless if the person is not hashtag. Hashtag is somebody who is humble, appreciative, smart, and hungry. But if they're not, I don't care what invite you use, you ain't gonna get with them. And did you hear the posture in there though? The posture was, I can't promise you anything. I may be able to open the door, but we got to sit down and see if there's a fit.
Yes,
you know
sir.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Mhm.
And if the person asks me, hey, could you tell me a little bit more about it? I say, sure. All we do is we help major companies go online and connect them with their customers, because the major competitor is Amazon. Now, sales do have to happen, but we're not in the sales department. And they say, they say, oh, so you mean, so is this a technical job? I say, well, listen, now is not the time or place. If you're interested, let's sit down, see if we have a fit. And then if we have a fit, you're going to get all the information you need. Is that good? They say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Boom. And that's it. So, Rod or Roderick, you want to go?
Yeah, yeah, I could go. Oh, you want to go first, Jordan?
Okay, I'm going to get a battery for my phone, but go ahead, either one of you.
Go
All
ahead
right,
first, Roderick. I'm pulling up home in a minute.
all right. Sounds good. Um, okay, so this what I have here is a message I text from a guy. I don't know if any of you knew, but I went to a wedding. I think it was 2 weeks ago, and just following up with the guy from the wedding. I just said, hey Nick, I'll go from the very top. Yeah, so I was saying, hey, morning, bro, made it back to Tallahassee. Just breaking the ice again, saying, hey, I made it back to Tallahassee safely. And he replies, hey, I'm happy to hear you made it back. I still have ways to go. And I tell him safe travel. Now then I said, hey, bro, did you make it back safe? And he's like, what's up, Roger? Thanks for asking. Yes, I did. And walked into the house at like 12 or 1 yesterday morning. And I say awesome stuff. So then I sent him the message. They say, hey, are you looking for ways to making extra cash? I would like to share a business opportunity with you. And he didn't reply. It was like a 2 day pause. I sent that on Wednesday, but he didn't reply. And then 2 days later, I think yesterday, I say, hey, what's up, bro? And this was his reply, saying nothing much. And he sent one of those emojis where it goes like shaking his head kind of thing. He said he forgot to press send, and he said this is how the message I supposed to send on Wednesday went. And then he actually placed a message and it says, "What's up, man? Since I've gotten back, I've been flooded with things and I've forgotten to respond. So this is it. The message he sent on Wednesday was that would be awesome. I am always open to new opportunities because you never know what can come out of them. So I just got that back, and I'm about to reply now. And the message I reply back is say, hey, no problem. Let's set a time to sit down. To see, just to see where this can lead. There's no, I can't promise you anything, but I'll see. If you have a fit here, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. That's why Roderick has so many MGs going on. He's like an MG machine, man.
Yeah. All right. If you want me to share another one, I
Ab-
can.
Yep.
Absolutely, go ahead.
Go ahead, Roderick.
Yeah, let's get a few, and then everybody. If you have any examples, Jonathan, Anthony, Carol, Jaleesa, Julia, Rose, Tobias, Crystal. I'm calling everybody. Okay, everybody. If you have any examples, just go ahead. Let's do it organically, and then after that, we'll do some role playing, and then let's open our lists and make some calls. Okay.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay. Just pulling it up very quickly. 1 second. Okay, this one is actually a phone conversation I did with the guy I met in Starbucks. We just connected. We had a really good conversation. We just had similar mindsets. So we just wanted to sit down and talk. And one of the things I said, hey, I work with some mentors, and when he heard mentorship, his eyes really lit up. He didn't know when he said that I would have been there to offer mentorship opportunities. But during that conversation, I was like, hey, to be honest, that's actually why I came here, to connect, to see if it's a fit for you to meet my mentors. And he just smiled, and he just went from there and through the MG1. That meeting pretty much was the MG1, but he didn't know it was the MG1. It was just us sitting down, and catching up from the first time we met at Starbucks. So based on that conversation, it doesn't matter how you invite them. Once you have that connection, once you sit down at that meeting, you could even, it's flexible that way as well, where you can just sit down and of course drop your story, share your story with them. Once they realize they hear your story, of course they want to know more, especially after that great connection from the DTM. And after you share your story, then of course you pull the trigger within, and that could be the meet and greet one right there as well. So you don't have to always drop the message at the first conversation. You can also drop it when you meet again, or of course through a text message before you meet that person, and then of course the MG1 when you connect. So it's all about connection. All it is this: follow your gut. When they say discernment, you don't be legalistic. Think of like the situation. Think of how you converse with that person, and you will know exactly what to say or do when the time comes.
Awesome. And if anybody has any questions, it's open floor, guys. Any questions, any comments, just chime in, okay? It's open floor. I'm encouraging everybody to participate. Or if you're unable to talk, because I know Jaleesa is at work, send us a text message, in the group, in the hangout or whatever, okay? So it's open floor. Everybody can talk at any time. Go ahead, Rod.
Yeah. So what I was saying, oh, you home already, Rodney?
2 minutes.
All right, I'll keep talking. So what I also found in that conversation when we connected was that I found out a whole lot. I found he's in the process of writing three books. I found out he was married. I found out a whole lot of stuff in that situation. So of course, when you're finding all those things, when we meet again, I was like, definitely, bring your wife with you. He pretty much went out of town overnight, so I was supposed to connect with him today, but I'll be connecting with him tomorrow sometime.
So Roderick, what
yes.
if he had asked you, is this one of those pyramid things? What would you have said?
Okay, so if you would say, hey, if this is one of those pyramid things, I was like, first of all, I'll ask him, what do you mean? Would you elaborate on what you talk? Can you like explain it to depth what you're talking about? First, and that even gives me more time to, it pretty much, just sets the atmosphere, like calms it down or bring it down one notch, and basically, after you talk about, personal topic, all the money and all that stuff, I would relate it back to reality. I'm like, okay, so pyramid scheme, you're talking about, personal topics, all the money, or you just bring a bunch of people in and they work and then you get money off of them, I'm guessing like that. If you really think about it, I would relate it back to his job. I'd be like, if you think about it, isn't that what a job does? Your boss, you can't make more money than your boss, right? So would you call your job a pyramid? It is a pyramid, it's a legal pyramid, right? And of course, I'll also go on and saying, of course, pyramid schemes are illegal. Just handling objections, questions based off of that. But I'll bring it all back to, of course, it means say, hey, if you're familiar with network marketing is what I do, because if they're already exposed to that, you want to, of course, bring it all the way around and let them know that, hey, we're, number one, the mentorship. I'll pretty much promote mentorship. We're talking about BWW and how they're number 2 in the world of producing multi-millionaires. And if that's illegal, then I don't know what to say after that. Between BWW and Amway, and I would also mention Amway too. If they're already exposed to multi-level marketing, and of
Wait
course,
a minute, you're mentioning Amway during the invite?
No, if they actually bring up saying that if it's one of those pyramid schemes. You see what I'm saying? Because they might have already done a multi-level marketing before. Or,
okay, I'm talking about during the invite.
Oh, during the invite. Okay,
yeah, this is an invite meeting.
Okay, I see.
Stay focused.
All right, got you. So yeah, they bring it up at an invite meeting. Of course, I'll talk about. I'll still handle the objection again, like I said earlier on the phone, and I'll say, hey, and of course, take it away from them too. Don't be afraid to take it away. Don't try to just cover things up. If they're already exposed that, and they based on their body language or however you hear them over the phone, and they're not interested in doing anything kind of that way, say, hey, no problem, have a nice day, period. I wouldn't want to go into depth trying to explain something that they already have an overall knowledge of. Or I could even relate back to them, say, hey, I don't know what you heard from who you heard it from, but if you haven't heard from me, you haven't heard about it. There's many different ways you could go about things. It
Right.
depends on.
I deal with it one way. One
Go
way
ahead.
I deal with it, and I keep it very simple. This one of those pyramid things, or some people call it a triangle. I say absolutely not.
Hmm.
That's all I say. I say absolutely not. I would not be involved in something like that.
That's good.
Mhm.
Keep it
I
simple.
don't I don't vary it at all. That's all I say. I say absolutely not. And then they say, oh, okay. And then I meet with them and I give them the book.
Yeah.
I'm talking just the invite now. I'm not
Okay.
talking about
Okay.
DP1 or MG1. I mean just the invite.
Okay.
So
Sounds good.
okay, everybody, what if the person says, I need to know exactly what this is before I meet with you? I'm opening it up to everybody. Jonathan, Anthony, Carol, Rod, everybody. What would you tell them?
I would deflect and say, for example, a car. I'll say before you jump in the car, do you know exactly how a car works before you drive it?
Good.
But they test drive it though.
I think you missed what I'm saying there. So the mechanics and all the engineering behind putting together a car, do you know exactly like how to assemble a car together and just know everything about a car before you jump to say, hey, I need to know exactly how this car accelerates momentum, all that stuff before I jump on this car and drive that car. It's no way they're gonna go through all of that. They're just gonna trust the car, jump in it and drive the car. If they know it's a car, they know it works. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Mhm.
All
And
right, I'm home now.
yeah, okay. You want to go ahead, Rod?
Yeah, for that
Did- did-
specific question,
Yeah.
I would usually say, hey, that's a good question, that's a good concern, but we're in the field of entrepreneurship and it takes time to develop entrepreneurship mindset. So it's impossible for me in one sitting or in one meeting to give you all the information about developing entrepreneurship, right? Because business ownership is different from the employee mindset. So I'm not sure where you at right now, but I'm following my mentors who are on the entrepreneurship side of things. So I don't know your mindset right now, so I'm just testing out things. And for me to give you all the information over the phone, that's probably not going to happen. And the other thing is if we can't sit down and meet, then we probably can't do business because business transactions are usually done in person.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. I would point everybody to BWW 2140. 2140. It is by Kevin and Beth Bell, Mindset and the Process Do's and Don'ts. And so if you guys could write that down. And then another one is going to be the Cantigala and panel, the process, BWW 2134. Campto really enjoys that one. Okay. And so what I would do is pretty much like what you guys said. I would say, listen, I don't want to waste your time and I don't want to waste my time. First, we got to see if we have a fit. Imagine me trying to teach you how to fly a plane over the phone. Okay, I first need to see if you're suitable. Because my goal is to get you. Because from I met them, I'm telling them my goal is to get you to meet my mentor. Okay, and in order to do that, I first need to sit down with you and see if we have a fit. So if you want to know what the what is now, like what Rod said, I'm gonna say nice to meet you.
All right.
Yep.
And anybody else? I don't want this to be a Roderick Kenneth show. So I'm looking for more participation, guys. Carol, Christel, Brandon, Jaleesa.
Yep.
Any
I have
questions? Any comments?
yep. I have one DTM to MG1 I could go through real quick.
Okay. No, no,
Yep.
no, no, no. DTM to MG1. Oh, you mean the
Well,
invite?
I mean to invite. Sorry, to invite.
Okay, all right. Don't be tripping us up now.
No, sorry. Invite to MG1. Sorry. Yeah. So recently, maybe a couple of days ago, I was just in Walmart and ran into a guy. I was looking for something, and he ended up helping me find it. And then I tell him, one good deed deserves another. You know, uh, you're really too. No offense, of course. I said you're really sharp to be working in Walmart. Like, what do you do? And he was telling me basically he just got out of the military, and he's in school to study business. So I said, really, that's interesting. I'm actually in the process of being mentored to build a business right now by some folks out of Atlanta. And he said, wow. So I quickly changed the topic. So I went into some other stuff like what drove you to study business, or how was your experience in the military? So I started asking him those types of questions. So after that, he brought it back to business, and he was like, tell me a little bit more about those mentors. I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if you would qualify for that time, but I could probably put in a good word. You seem like a good guy, but I'll try to put in a word. I can't promise you anything, just to see if they're onboarding any people at this current time to do what we do, or to become a part of our mentorship program. And he said, yeah, yeah, definitely, I'd be looking for something like that. So I took his number, and maybe I always get back with them within 48 hours. I never let it go past 2 days. So within 2 days, I was texting him back and forth, and I pretty much just asked him, hey, how's your day going? And he answered, and he asked me, do I have any plans for the weekend? And I told him, well, actually, I didn't even answer that question yet. But I didn't give him a chance. Well, I didn't give him a response to that question. Do you have any plans for the weekend? But he came back 10 minutes later, and he said, were you able to speak to any of your mentors about me? Right? So I told him my plans for the weekend, which was, hanging out with coworkers and preparing for Thanksgiving, all that stuff. And then I told him, yeah, I spoke with my mentors earlier today, and they recommended that we sit down, if our schedules sync up next week, over a cup of coffee, to see if we have a fit so you could qualify for what we do. Then he said, sounds great. I look forward to meeting with you. And then I told him I just checked my schedule. Monday evening looks good for me. How about you? He said, yes, that works. I'm free after 12 p.m. And I tell him, okay, we can meet at 7 p.m. And he said, that works. Just let me know where, and I'll see you then. So,
Awesome. So you guys heard carefully what Rod was saying. He has that theme of who you're going to meet. I'm preparing you to meet them. Okay, so from the DTM, he's talking who. As soon as they start to talk about what, he brings it back to the who. And then the invite is who. Okay, I need you to, in order for you to meet my mentors, we first need to sit down and talk. It's all who. And that's how you get people to the open meeting or the information session every week. And I'm not talking what I don't do, because I get people to the information session every week. You ask Kamta and Naja. I'm not saying that to show off. I'm not saying that to show off. I'm saying that to show you that what Kamta and Nadia are teaching us, it works. Okay, so I'm not trying to show off. Okay, I'm just showing you results. Who else? Come on now. We haven't heard from Crystal and Anthony and Carol. And Jaleesa can't talk. She's on the job. Julia Rose and Jonathan. Roderick, Rod, and myself are going to be quiet now. Could you guys chime in? You have any questions, comments, or any suggestions?
Well, hello.
Hey, Tobias, forget about it.
Forget about it. Yeah, what Rod said was quite helpful, man. I just got the email link, whatever, so I'm just not jumping in, man. I was looking for it around 5 o'clock or whatever. But anyways, my issue is the icebreakers. Because just like last night I ran into an issue in where, I couldn't find no commonality with the person And so I know I came off kind of blunt with it, you know. Um First thing I asked him, like, you know, hey, how you doing? You look like a pretty sharp person. What is it that you do? And I know that's the incorrect procedure. And it's kind of like the wall of defense was still there, you know. And that's something that I'm working on right now, because there may be people that I can't find that commonality, but there's other people that I seem to, you know, kind of struggle with or whatever. And I want to try to get my numbers for the day. So it's like, you know, and I look at it as a challenge, you know, because you know, within the business, like I've started to conversate with people that I normally wouldn't even talk to, you know. So it's like I know this is me, you know, getting broke into the business or whatever, earning my stripes or whatever. But it's like I'm trying to sharpen that skill as far as the ice breaking to break down the wall to where we can have a natural conversation, just like Rod just displayed, because that seemed very natural. You know, the guy helped him out or whatever. And so that's just something I'm working on, just not being too blunt, you know, to where it kind of like throws them off a little bit, you know? And so that's just where I'm at with it right now.
Okay, awesome. And you and I will go in the field this week. Actually, after this meeting, after I make my calls, I'll be going to Walmart if you want to join me. So,
Right. You say after
anybody
you
else?
made it, you say after you
Yeah,
made the call tonight?
yeah. After I make my calls, after this meeting, because this meeting is not going to go on and on. I'm actually part of the meeting is us making our calls, and after we do that, you know, then we could you and I can go out and get some contacts going. So,
I also I
yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
also
I
I didn't catch the last BWW stream that you refer. I got the 2140, the do's and don'ts, but what was the other one?
Okay. The other one is hold on. This is one that Campto says that Roderick, you were there when Campto was talking about it. This is one that Campto wants everybody to study. That's
Yeah.
another thing. What Campto and Nadia are saying is that you got to study this business. You should know how many DTMs you should have a day. If you're not studying the business, you can't master it. Okay, so you have to study it. Don't just listen to the streams. Take notes. Don't just read, take notes, okay? And you need a lot of field experience. If you're new to the process, then you need to go out there with somebody who is experienced. Okay, so your goal is to study it. Nobody goes silver or platinum without studying and knowing the business or sustain. You know, you might go there by mistake, but that's seldom. Okay, and so the next one is BWW12134. BWW 2134, and it's Cantigala and the panel and the process. BWW 2134, Cantigala and the panel, the process. Okay, get that one and study it. Camta says, you were there, Roderick. Camta was saying it's awesome, and I listened to it. It's awesome, you know, and so you want to study that. Okay, but to get into the process, you have to have the invites. I can't emphasize that. If you're having problems with your conversations and your DTM and your contacts, then go in the field with somebody who knows how to do that. But after you've had gotten the number, like Rod says, within 1 to 3 days, you need to call them and you have to have the right verbiage. You should be upbeat. Okay. You should be upbeat when you're talking to them. And also if the person is negative or skeptical, what you need to do is give them a chance
Yes.
and yeah, yeah, give them a chance, and if they don't, if they're not responded, nice to meet you. Okay, and then if the person insists on the who, you know, we just discussed that. But if I've reached out to somebody, I call you and I text you, or I text you and then I call you, and I'm not getting a response, two strikes, you're out. Now, I'm not taking you off my list. Don't take the person off the list. Just means that I'm not going to waste any more time with you, because then that means I'm chasing you down. I'm trying to sell. I'm trying to push something on you, and that's not my goal. Okay, I'm just making sure we answer all the questions here. You know, what if the prospect doesn't respond right? You know, what if I how much posture? You know the posture lines already. I can't promise you anything. Okay, I may be able to open the door for you to meet my my mentors. Okay, we have very high standards. Okay, this is a qualifying process. You know, these are the things that you say so that the person knows that you're not chasing them, because you're not. You're not a seller. You're not a seller. You're a buyer. When you go to the supermarket, you don't pick up all the bananas and leave. You pick up the best bunch and you're out of there. And that's what we're looking for. So out of every 10 people you talk to, 1 to 2 of them will launch. Okay.
Yep, yep. And Kenneth, back to what Tobias was saying about the icebreakers. Of course, I know you're gonna run through with him, but just letting you know, Tobias, most of us had that fear or had to overcome that fear starting out. So, what Kamta always taught us was just say hi to people, and if they say hi back, then you create a conversation, right? So, just talk to the friendly people and somebody that you feel that you could build a conversation with. So, not every conversation is gonna go. Trust me, we have wild stories of conversations we did in the past. So, but as you do more and more and more, it'll just be natural.
Right. I want to keep our focus on invitations though. And
Yep.
Carol, you there? I guess Carol is not available as yet. Brandon and Crystal, you guys have anything to say or
Yes, I
yeah,
was I was
go ahead.
waiting. I was waiting till you guys were done. But
We'll never
uh
finish.
my video is not working, so I'm just gonna just talk. But
That's fine.
so my biggest issue was not the connection because I make connections really easily. And it's my biggest issue was transitioning into dropping the message. I share my story often. I share the story, talk about mentors and mentorship and everything, but it's the dropping the story that I had an issue with. And I would make the connection, get the contact, and then wait too long to contact them back and then feel awkward to try to drop the message. So after the last BBS, like some of the points and the tips that I heard were, of course, contact within the next 72 hours and um don't be afraid to drop the message pretty much. So I took that advice and I met 2 days after the conference, I met some lady in um, a coffee shop and she and my husband and we're having a conversation and we had a lot in common. Her children have a lot in common with us as well. And she like some of what she was saying, I didn't have to even ask any questions. So she was just like, "Oh, let's exchange contacts." So I was like, "Okay, let me take this opportunity to share our story." So I shared our story, and she was like, "Wow, that's so exciting." And then she started talking about needing vitamins and supplements. So I told her about a Nutrilite clinic we were having, and then we had to leave. So I didn't get to fully drop the message, but for the past couple of days we were texting and we're meeting up this Saturday after Thanksgiving to have another conversation. I guess that's not an MG1, but a meeting to drop the message. So what I'm saying, my issue is I have to work towards dropping the message right then and there, as opposed to doing it through text messaging or another conversation.
Yeah, there are different schools of thoughts. You know, I've heard Campter say that sometimes he doesn't do it all the time. Sometimes what Campter and Naja do is that they will do a delayed drop the message. So they have 2 meetings or 3 on the phone and face to face with contacting, building rapport. You know, but they only do that when it's necessary. My point of view, okay, and both work. Okay, my point of view, I'm more just get it done right away. I need to know when I go home and I put my head down on the pillow. I need to know, do I have a go or a no go? And so the way how I've trained myself, and I'm not saying there's a preference. I'm saying that either works. But my preference is I'm in the field. I'm very intentional. I'm controlling the conversation. Okay, I'm controlling the conversation by asking questions and changing the topics. And I don't try and vomit on them all the information I know or my story. I come up for to breathe and let them respond. So it's back and forth. But I'm gonna drop the message, man. That's what I call intentional conversations. I'm gonna drop the message right there. But again, you could do it the other
See,
way.
but the thing is, the reason why it was awkward for me to drop the message is because we having a connection, we're vibing. I'm sharing my story, so I'm talking about telling them that me and my husband met someone or like whatever my story is, and they're not saying anything like, oh, they're just saying cool. That's
Right.
nice.
Right. Okay. So Charlie Doso, I'm just remembering one stream. There are many streams. Charlie Doso says you're gonna get three responses. They're either gonna be excited, neutral, or negative. If they're negative, leave them alone. If they're excited, drop the arm. Let them know what's available. If they're neutral, what Charlie Doso says, and again there are other streams that talk to it. What Charlie Doso says is that you say, do you keep your options open? Or are you open for extra streams of income? If they say, oh, that's nice, you say, hey, let me ask you a question. Do you keep your options open for extra income? Because I may be able to introduce you to my mentors. I may be able to. I can't promise you anything. So because I get a lot of neutrals. They say, oh, that's nice. Oh, that's interesting. At that point, that's my cue. That's my cue to turn to them and say, listen, you, you know, yeah, let me ask you a question. And I might not do it right away. I might still talk about some other things. And then just when I'm about to leave, I might go back to our previous conversation. And just before I leave, I'm gonna make sure I ask that question. Hey, out of the blue, let me ask you a question. You seem to be a very smart, sharp person. Do you ever keep your options open, or are you pretty much locked into what you do?
Okay.
I'm gonna ask it, man.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Carol.
I'm sorry, I was trying to get unmuted.
Okay.
Are you done, Crystal? I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's all right.
Oh,
But yeah, I was done expressing. I was just getting feedback.
Yeah, I hope I wasn't too forceful, Crystal. I get excited. So
It's okay. I understand. I'm taking in what you're giving and writing down what you're saying and seeing how I could utilize that.
yeah, let's go out into the field and practice this week.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Go ahead, Carol.
oh, okay. So I'm just gonna talk about my latest MG. Well, the invite when I met the guy at the Whole Food store. It was in the seafood department, and I kept saying, okay, I talk out loud sometimes when I'm in the store, especially around food and seasonings. Well, anyway, I was telling him how I was going to have a seafood Thanksgiving, cooking like shrimp and fish and some crab legs if they was on sale. And he started laughing. So he was like, wow, you sound like what we're about to do for our Thanksgiving slash family reunion. So I was like, well, where are you from? And he said, Alabama. I said, are you serious? I said, my husband has family in Alabama. And we started talking. So he said they're gonna have all kind of seafood, a crab boil, a pig in the ground, all kind of stuff. So I was like, well, I'm coming to y'all house instead of buying the stuff here today. So we started laughing and then we talked a little bit longer. I introduced him to Anthony and then I said, hey, you seem real, nice, fun to be around. Probably got a bunch of, friends, and then you about to go home. So I'm sure with the 100 people that you got that you about to go see, you can talk to some of your friends and see um later to see if they are interested in making some extra income with you. So he was like, what are you talking about? So I was like, well, I wanted to see if you're interested in making extra income for yourself. And then we could talk more about getting your family involved, if that's okay with you. So he was like, hold on a minute. He went around the corner and checked the date when he's supposed to come back to work, when he was off, and we set it up right there.
Okay.
MG1.
Carol
So he
loved it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, okay, when we finished talking, of course, we talked about the family reunion and the Thanksgiving again, and then we were getting ready to leave. And he texted me. I tell you, as soon as I got in the car, he texted me the place. It's a new coffee shop none of us has been to. He texted me and said, "This is a nice spot we can meet at to have a nice conversation. Um, see you at 1 o'clock." Wednesday. This was the week before. So we met. He came in. He was all nice cut, dressed and everything. He came in and I told him, this is like a meet and greet where you get to know me and I get to know you. This is how I started it out. And he sat down and we started talking. I asked some questions. How was his day? I asked him, did he want to get something to drink first? You got to be, be nice. Don't just go right into it. It was all our first time there. It was very, very nice too. And he sat down, got his coffee, and then we started talking. And I started speaking to him about, so why did you agree to meet me? That was the first question I asked when he sat down. And he told me, he said that he's really looking for extra income. He lives with his cousin. They live in a house. So he was like the extra money would help him out to help him get out of debt. And also did he say student loan? I think he said student loans too. Pay bills and student loans. So I said, okay, so would you like to do anything else like besides pay bills? And he said, of course, just be with family. Family is so strong with him. I know he said it like 6 times. He like being around his family. He like, he wants to have a family. He's what, 26? He want to have a family before he turned, I think he said 30. Before he turns 30, he wants a wife and a kid, and he just want to be around them all the time. He want to grow up with he said he did want a son first. So he wants to be there for his son. He didn't know his dad. He want to be, the man of the house, but he want to provide. So I was like, okay. So it went well. I mean, we talked for a while. Like I said, family come first. He really interested. So then I was asking him, with the job, you have rules and regulations at your job, right? So with this business, we also have a system, and it's like the right way and the wrong way. So he was like, I understand. So when we started talking, I said, so if I offered you a book to read, like how long would it take you to read it? Well, he's about to go on vacation. And he was like, and that was his off day too, as well. So he was like, I'm about to start this one when I leave the coffee shop, the book. So then we was telling him, we need to set up 2 more appointments. He was like, let me pull out my calendar. I pulled out my calendar. We set it up. So my MG2 is coming up this after Thanksgiving Saturday at 6 o'clock back at the same coffee shop because they close at 7. And then the next meeting is already set up for him to come out to BP1 at the meeting, the home, I'm sorry, the information meeting that we have every week. So that'll be on the 27th. So yeah, when I meet someone and get the conversation together and we making that connection, I am thinking about how I'm going to get them on the first MG1. How am I going to set up the appointment the right way? And I'm just not wasting time. I mean, some people I do wait like the day after to actually invite them or meet up for the MG1. But no, we got a calendar on our phone. So that means they got a calendar on their phone. And I'm setting it up right then and there. That's all I want to say.
Awesome.
And I hope I wasn't, too crazy with it. But I'm just saying I don't have time to wait.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, no, Carol, for you to be crazy, you got to get up to my level, man.
Boom.
Oh, well, I'm almost there. I'm right behind you.
Jonathan and Julia Rose. Could we hear from you guys? Jonathan, Julia Rose?
Okay, I'm going back on mute.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. Everything pretty much everything people have been saying is right on point with what I needed to hear. So yeah, I mean, it's not much to be said. Not much else to be said, basically.
Awesome. How are your invites going?
They're going well. I try not to. My whole goal is not to force anything. So while I'm going and talking to people, I'll say hello, and then I think to myself, is this the person I want to work with? Is this, as we're talking, is this somebody who I like talking to? And I'm like, oh yeah, cool. They seem cool, and then I'll steer it to where like what they do and stuff like that, and then I'll share my story or drop a message, and then I'll go and then see how they look, see their body language, and then I'll move on, and then if they go back to it, that's cool, and then sometimes they don't react. They're like, oh, that's cool, whatever, I'm doing this and doing that, and I ask them also, how do you like, you know do you like what you do, stuff like that. And like, yeah, I like what I do, and then sometimes they'll say, oh no, I'm just doing, I'm just doing it for work and stuff like that. I'm like, so what you trying to strive for? You say you say that you're just trying to do work for now. So what you trying to strive for? Like, oh, well, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, and stuff like that. So based on how they answer some questions, um, I'll I'll extend like, hey, possibly, uh, if you're looking for some extra, some mentorship, possibly I could talk to my mentors, and can't promise you anything, but I probably possibly get you in front of them. But I have to steer away from that. So instead of saying to possibly get you in front of them, I'll probably say, hey, I work with some people here locally, even though my mentors are in Atlanta that help me, that coached me to build my business. Possibly I can get you in front of the team here that I work with, and see if you're a right fit for for mentorship, and see and try to steer it that way. Sometimes it goes over the head. Sometimes, like a couple of times, I actually met people who are actually on other teams. So it was kind of funny bumping into other people from other teams that are actually associated with Amway. So it was kind of funny. But sometimes I find, and especially after yesterday at the BBS, my whole goal now is just to focus on having a cooperative relationship and try not to tear it towards isolate. Well, it may go over you guys' head, but it's what Angelo and Claudia would teach us yesterday about relationships, and how you can have all the technical skills, but without relationships, the technical skills won't matter. So my whole goal right now is to keep building relationships, and regardless if I drop the message now or if I wait later on after I get to know that person more and drop the message later, still build that relationship. So, because sometimes dropping the message there may not be the right time to do it. So, that's my whole goal now, especially after yesterday. But before, I was just trying to make it as fluid as possible and not try to force a DTM. Like, for instance, there was a guy I met at Target, guy and his friend I met at Target. I was coming out of Target. They were going to their car. They were trying to fit something into their car and close the trunk, and they couldn't close the trunk, and they couldn't secure it. So I had straps on my car. I was like, hey, maybe this can help. And so I helped them strapped it down, and they were asking how much do I owe you? I was like, oh, don't worry about it. Just you probably use this in the future. Just take them. And he's like, oh, thank you. Whatever. I didn't ask for a number. I just it was cold outside. The family like they're ready to go. It wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right time. And so I could have got their number. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna help them. Just let it be. And then we both left. So sometimes, you know, you may run into that situation to where you run into somebody and you do have a good conversation, but you know, you just don't drop the message or you don't share your story. It's not that you don't want to, it's just that, you know, it just didn't go that way. You know, you don't want to force it to where, hey, well, you know, I do this, you know, because then they'll be like, so like like that relationship will start deteriorating. Just that connection that you've been trying so hard to make will start deteriorating over and slowly get to a point to where, oh well, you know, that's cool, whatever. And then, you know, you may have missed the opportunity to connect more or to build that relationship more to where you can get them in front of whether it be Kenneth Compton United or the team that you know, if you're not locally with Compton United, Kenneth, with your upline with that team there, you can connect them with.
So Jonathan, can you tell us the difference between a forced DTM and an intentional DTM? Well, in your mind, what's the difference?
So forced DTM is like you're talking to somebody and you're trying to, and immediately you're like, yeah, I'm doing this. Okay. So for instance, you walk with somebody like, hey, how you doing? Look, I'm doing good. How about you? Everything's good. It's like, yeah, you know, I'm working on these work. You know, and you kind of immediately go into it. Like it's, you kind of immediately just like, hey, what, you know, you keep questioning them and keep questioning them, and you're not actually letting that conversation go back and forth. And then when you keep questioning them, you're like, oh yeah, I do this, this, and that. And they're like, oh, okay, cool, you know, that's cool. And so in my eyes, I could, you know, it's different for everybody.
No, I agree with you. It's forced if you're vomiting on them and you're not allowing them to talk.
Right.
You know, but if you have that back and forth, you could you know, weave it into the conversation.
Exactly. Because
Right.
and when you're doing it intentional, you're intentionally like having a conversation with somebody that you're allowing them to speak. Because sometimes allowing them to speak will actually give you deterioration. Deterioration. It'll give you the it will pop up those flags that say, oh, maybe, you know, it's not the right time, or maybe I don't need to share my story with them. Like, you know, it's gonna happen. Like you, and I realized that over time that because I was in that same mode of like, oh, I gotta get this contact, I gotta get this number, I gotta get this number, I gotta get this number, and then I found that I was forcing it too much to where I'm not allowing them to speak or I'm not allowing them to actually answer questions. So I had to slow it down and just, you know, be myself and be fluid about it to where even in my Facebook, even my messages, like for instance, one of my friends from my childhood friends, I was talking to him and I told him like, yeah, I'm doing. I asked him like, hey, is this your number still? He's like, yeah, this is my number. And he was asking, how am I doing? I told him, hey, I'm up in Virginia. I'm working on with the computers. I'm got my business going and doing this. He's like, oh, word, I'm doing the same thing, except I'm not doing the whole big money business thing. I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, so what is it? Like, what are you doing? I was like, well, I'm working on, you know, I'm being mentored how to build a business asset that can help me build a financially free future. He's like, oh, that's awesome, man. I would definitely want to get my kids involved with that, you know. And then we start talking more, and I'm like, hey, you know, are you serious about, you know, trying to get involved with some mentorship to build a financial free asset? He's like, yeah, definitely, man, absolutely. He's like, okay, man. Well, how about we set up something, a Skype call for 7 at this time and date. And he's like, okay, cool. And then even for like the first interview when we didn't have it because he wasn't responding, and he wasn't responding to the text. And so I had to call him. I called him. He's like, oh man, I'm at a football practice. this, and that. I was like, okay, cool. How about and he said, I'll call you back. He didn't call me back. And then I texted him like, hey, you didn't call me back yesterday. Is everything good? He's like, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I forgot we had this, and that. Ran kind of late. And I was like, it's cool, it's cool. I was like, well, if you're still serious, I got some time tomorrow. He's like, okay, cool, let's do that, let's do that. So then we had it on the next day, and we had it. I was driving, we were having, and this is right before I picked up my dad, since he was up here, and we were talking, and I was pretty much trying to see where his head was, and I was asking like, hey, it's a process to this, before you can even before I want to put you in front of my mentors, I want to get you in the right mindset so that when you talk to them, you know what they're talking about, and it won't go over your head. You be on the same page. He's like, okay, cool, cool, cool. That sounds good. That sounds good. And then before I even asked that question, I asked him like, why do you want to, what you trying to achieve? You trying to, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? Stuff like that. I asked him a couple questions. That's not the exact question I asked, but basically I was asking him what his goals are, what he wants to do in the future and stuff like that. And he's like, well, I definitely want to, when I'm doing stuff, I definitely want to do stuff for my kids and stuff like that. And it's not me asking questions. We're actually having a conversation. I'm just summing it up to not take too much time. And so I was like, okay, cool, And so I told him like, hey, maybe I can get I was gonna give him the book online, but I was like, maybe this would be a good opportunity for him to meet Celie and get the book from her since he's only 45 minutes from Tallahassee. So I said, hey, what I can do is I can talk to my mentor and my business partner and see if she can meet with you halfway between where you are and Tallahassee. And then I asked him like, how far are you from Tallahassee? He's like, oh, I'm like 45 minutes. Oh, okay, cool. So I'll talk to her and see if she can meet with you and give you the book so you can read it. And he's like, okay, cool. That sounds good. That sounds good. And then we started talking more. I was like, hey, man, trust me. The people I've met, they changed my life. The stuff they told me, they changed my life. Definitely that's the whole reason why I wanted to get you in front of them, because I know that they'll change yours too. I pretty much get like a heart to heart, basically.
Okay, awesome stuff.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's pretty much. That's pretty much my spiel and stuff. So
awesome, man. We could tell that you're out there in the field, and I know that from your data. Julia Rose, do you have any questions, comments, or anything?
I actually have something to say.
Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to say thank you for that, because in listening to you explain, what you do or your goals and role playing, it made me realize I am very intentional with my conversations. I'm actually more in control than I realize. I have to push past the fear of dropping the message and just do it. That's what I realize I need to do based on hearing what you guys have to say, because I'm intentionally having the conversation. I'm directing it to different places. It's just when it gets to a point when I share my story and they're not as excited, because there are times I have someone that's excited and I did drop the message, but when it's a neutral response, like you said, there are 3 different responses. I don't know what happens. I don't know if I'm nervous or what, but I have to push past that nervousness and drop the message.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Well, thanks to Jonathan and Rod and Roderick and everybody else.
Thank you, Jonathan. That's exactly who I'm saying thank you to. Thank you, Jonathan.
Okay. All right.
I mean, thank you to you too.
What about Carol? You didn't mention Carol.
She said it to everybody. Kid, don't do that to
her. Julia Rose, do you have any comments for us, or questions, or concerns, or anything?
No, I appreciated everyone's testimony, especially Carol, because um, she just sounds so fearless. I don't know what she looks like, but she's just like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. I'm just gonna do it. I'm not gonna wait on it either. So I would love to get to that point in my life, and that's all I got. So
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm sure Roderick and Aaron are gonna continue to go with you in the field, you know,
yeah,
and to
they're like professional finessers, and I'm just
Mhm.
like that's just a whole thing in itself. I don't want to go onto that negative
yeah,
tangent. So.
Julia, where you are, all of us started out at. In fact, Camter says often he was so shy and so, and I'm not saying you were shy. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying Camter was so shy and so introverted. He couldn't lead anybody in silent prayer. You know, yeah. Those are his words. To talk to Camter. He was, and now he can talk to anybody and get any number anytime he wants to. But he was an extreme introvert. And again, I'm not saying anybody here is an introvert. I'm just saying where Camter was. You know, and I see that Aaron. Okay, so we're gonna have to break away very soon. So Aaron, could you say a quick hi to us so that we could transition into action?
Hey, how y'all doing, everybody? Sorry that I'm late to the party. I kind of got out of appointment kind of late, but hey, how everybody doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
Awesome,
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
master contactor.
Hey, I became this way because of the system. You know, being on Pace. You know, Pace is always great. You know, the Tuesday meetings, and been taught by great leaders like Kenneth and Seeley themselves, and Roderick and Rodney and them. So
Make sure,
definitely.
make sure you mention Campton Naja. This is being recorded.
Yes, Kempton, Nadia, of course, all, all the way up, you know. But yeah, I enjoy it. I had to make sure I get online, even though it's even for a few minutes or so before we got off. So yeah, I like what I hear too.
Awesome. And Aaron, if we had more time, we would ask you to give more input. But we're pretty much hitting up. I want to make sure everybody gets into their calls. So I want to show you one last slide. Could you guys get pencil and paper and write this down? Okay. I'm gonna share the slide and then we'll finish. Okay. So
All right.
get pencil and paper, and this is the exercise we're gonna do. Okay? And this is the exercise here. If you're having problems doing it, call whoever is working with you. All right. Right. Go into your phone team and write down. Call the people, invite them. If you need a script is just a guideline. Okay, you don't read it. Okay, and write down the number of calls or texts you sent out today, the number of appointments you have booked, and the number of callbacks. A callback is you leave a message or whatever, or they don't text back. Okay, and a missed call is where you get a wrong number or whatever. Okay, so write these down and text them to me. Okay, and I will tally them, and I'll let Camta and Naja know how many messages we got. How much we got today. Okay, so if there's nothing else, I want to sign off now so that everybody can go and make their calls and the texts, book appointments like crazy. What I do around this time is I tell people, hey, do you want to meet before Thanksgiving or afterwards? That way I'm respecting their family time. And the closer we get to Thanksgiving, is the more I say, why don't we meet after Thanksgiving? Okay, so make your appointments. Leave messages if need be. When I leave a message, I say, hey, this is Kenneth. We met on such and such. I was just calling to see how you're doing, touching bases. When you get a chance, if you could call me or text me, that'll be awesome. Have a good evening. That's what I say. Okay, and then missed calls, well, a wrong number or whatever. You shouldn't be getting a lot of those, but if you do, nice to meet you. Scratch them off your list. Okay, is that good?
That's good.
Yeah.
Yep, good.
All right, so I'm expecting to hear from everybody. Just text me, okay?
All right.
All right.
All right.
Bye bye.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Good meeting.
Lesser.
All right. Later.